Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The goddess next door takes on kung fu killers in this action-packed martial arts Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers today. When I saw Danny Rand make his appearance on Netflix's Luke Cage Season 2, it looked like the character was going to make a change for the better. You had Danny Rand acting more masculine and counseling Luke Cage like he did in the old Power Man and Iron Fist comics, and after seeing Danny and Luke play patty cake in that scene, I was anticipating what would happen in the upcoming Iron Fist Season 2, because I thought that the Iron Fist character was going to go in a brand new, more dynamic direction now that Matt Murdock had made him the guardian of the whole city and gave him the mission to go out here and protect the whole city. I should have known better than to get my hopes up, because you can pick the worst episode of Arrow from Arrow Season 3, Arrow Season 4, or just recently the most horrifically and incredibly dreadful Season 6, and it's better than anything in Iron Fist Season 2. Now, after the opening sequence of the first episode where Iron Fist knocks the engine out of a truck's block, the whole Iron Fist Season 2 starts turning into a bigger hot mess than Season 1. And yeah, the fight scenes are better in Iron Fist Season 2, but the big problem with Iron Fist Season 2 isn't the fight scenes, which are well choreographed and well done, while they are still too slow in my opinion, but the biggest problem with Iron Fist Season 2 has to do with the writing. And instead of giving us balanced, well-crafted stories like we got in Netflix's Luke Cage Season 2, we get stories that are all about pushing a pure 100% SJW feminist agenda. And over the course of 10 episodes, I watched as Danny Rand got completely emasculated and completely cucked. I mean, I haven't seen a guy get emasculated this badly since Alice Walker's The Color Purple and the Dark-Skinned Brothers from Tyler Perry movies, but here we are. Now, your Iron Fist Season 2 has a loose story which is revolving around Joy Meacham helping Davos, the Steel Serpent, take the Iron Fist from Danny Rand. Unfortunately, that story gets lost in all of the gynocentrism, feminism, and identity politics shoved down our throat. We get so much girl power on Iron Fist, Danny Rand becomes a background character on his show. I mean, I had to look at this show and ask myself a critical question. Who is the main character of this show? Because the show is titled Iron Fist, but we don't get to see Iron Fist be the hero in his own show. And that's what's really sad about Iron Fist Season 2, is that the writers spend so much time pushing strong women like Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, Joy Meacham, and Typhoid Mary, that Danny Rand winds up in the background of his own show, and his struggles and his challenges wind up afterthoughts because everyone is so busy pushing this feminist narrative. I mean, the title of the show, again, is supposed to be Iron Fist. So Iron Fist should be front and center in his own show, taking on these challenges like the Golden Tigers, the Hatchets, the gang war, and all of these other issues that are brought up. But because we have Danny Rand written like a complete beta male, instead of him being a man and taking on the man-sized responsibility Matt Murdock gave him, we have Danny Rand turned into a complete punk. And they've turned him into such a beta that he doesn't know how to do things ordinary men know how to do, like be able to protect a community or navigate his emotions as related to the power that was given to him. Because instead of him doing things to train, we have him being emotional and doing things like punching doors in an abandoned subway tunnel. And that was one of the things that really annoyed me. Again, your Danny Rand is so passive and so weak that you can't believe that this guy was going to be trained to be any sort of martial arts master, because martial arts masters, These are men who have extreme discipline, extreme self-control, and an understanding of how to be a balanced man, because they know that they have to be in complete control when they go out here and use their abilities in the martial arts. I didn't see any of that discipline in your Danny Rand. I saw a very emotional man who allowed himself to be dictated to and controlled by a woman like Colleen Wing. And that's not something a martial arts master like Danny Rand would do, especially if he was being trained by male martial arts masters. And that was one of the things, again, that really annoyed me is with Iron Fist Season 2, is it comes really from a gynocentric perspective and the view of women looking outside at men and not the way a man would act. Because a man who trained in 20 years in the martial arts and worked hard to become the Iron Fist would not be as docile or submissive as the way Danny Rand is portrayed in this show. Your Danny Rand in this show is a complete wimp, and his archenemy Davos is actually worse than him. Now, in the comics, your Davos, the Steel Serpent, is a guy who is cocky, who is smug, and is bigger and stronger than Danny Rand. But the guy who they get to play, Davos, is a small, skinny guy who comes across as extremely beta, and he literally acts like an incel in every scene that he's in. He acts like he has no connection to people, no connection to relationships, and no semblance of humanity, because the way I look at this Davos, it's like a guy who sits in a basement somewhere posting on an incel message board, and he's got such tunnel vision about things that he has no real understanding about anything. It's clear to me that when they wrote Davos, they really did not capture the spirit of the Davos in the comics, and they didn't really understand why he wanted the Iron Fist. And when I look at this small, effeminate looking guy, I don't see anybody who even resembles the Steel Serpent in any way. All I see is a tinfoil worm who no one could respect, in the same way no one could respect your Danny Rand in this series, because your Danny Rand doesn't come across like a hero. He comes across like a coward in many of these scenes. And that's what's really annoying about Iron Fist, is that we don't get to see any man being heroic in a show that's supposed to be created talking about a heroic man. Instead, we get the females taking over the show, and the females pushing a strong female narrative in a show that's supposed to be about men. And as they come in and take over the show, these so-called hero Danny Rand gets completely emasculated because your Colleen Wing acts more like a man than your Danny Rand. And that's one of the things that really irritated me about Iron Fist, is that instead of turning Colleen Wing into the supporting character she is supposed to be, she is turned into a Mary Sue in this series. Because as I watched this series, your Colleen Wing was capable of practically doing everything, from coming up for the solution to the gang war, to beating up 5 guys, to outfighting Danny Rand as she helped retrain him after he broke his leg, to literally getting the Iron Fist. I look at the whole arc regarding Colleen Wing, and it just comes across like really terrible fan fiction. So instead of us getting a multi-dimensional character in Colleen Wing, she is turned into a Mary Sue, and that literally derails the show, because everything Colleen Wing was doing in Iron Fist Season 1 and Iron Fist Season 2 is everything Danny Rand should have been doing. But because these producers wanted their girl power and their identity politics and wanted to push a narrative with strong women, Danny Rand's testicles were put in Colleen Wing's purse, and instead of us seeing Danny Rand being the hero that he was in the comics, we get this exaggerated, hyper-feminist superwoman in Colleen Wing. And seeing that hyper-feminist superwoman, that was really, again, a thing that really annoyed me, because I look at this Colleen Wing character, and it's clear to me that the writers aren't being objective regarding this character, and they're not really taking a critical look. I mean, when you have this supporting character, even though she is trained in the martial arts, going out here and beating up five guys, that's completely ridiculous because men are bigger and stronger than a woman, and even if she has training in the martial arts, she's not going to be able to do the things that your supposedly super martial artist is supposed to do. And when she goes out here and does the things that your super martial artist like Iron Fist is supposed to do, it completely emasculates that character, it completely minimizes that character, and it does not give us a reason to see why this character is valuable or why we should care about this character. So, in their efforts to elevate Colleen Wing, they emasculate Danny Rand and they take away the purpose of Danny Rand to the series, or giving us a reason to care about Danny Rand. And that's that's just really irritating because they didn't need to do that. As a writer who writes strong heroines, I know that it's possible to write heroines in a way that makes them strong without making the male heroes weak, because a good writer can find a way to bring balance to the storytelling, to show us why the woman is strong and why the man is strong at the same time, and show us how both characters' strengths and weaknesses balance each other. Because I do this all the time with John Haynes and Isis in stories like Bride of Dracula and Escape from Transylvania, and I do it with John Haynes and Eaststein in stories like The Man Who Rules the World, The Temptation of John Haynes, and the upcoming John Haynes Dark Succubus. So I know that it's possible to show what's great about a heroine, and as she stands at the side of the hero, and how to make the heroine just as likable as the hero, because with the Eaststein character, she's just as popular as John Haynes, and she's popular because I play to the strengths of what makes a woman great, and showcasing how she can stand at a man's side without stepping over him. But with Colleen Wing, she literally stamps all over Danny Rand and makes him into the girl of the relationship over the course of 10 episodes, and things just come to the boiling point where I just got so mad when I saw Danny Rand turning into a complete coward after beating down Steel Serpent, or even before he beat down Steel Serpent, talking about how he didn't want the Iron Fist and how he wanted to give Colleen Wing the Iron Fist while he went out here to find himself. That was a complete punk move in the writer's room, because for you to take the hero out of his own story, that's just a complete slap in the face to every comic fan out there. That's something that the writers in Arrow Season 6 tried to do with the whole John Diggle thing, and I look at this whole effort to give Colleen Wing the Iron Fist, and that's clearly smacks of identity politics, it smacks of gynocentrism, and it smacks of trying to make this strong woman when there was nothing really strong about Colleen Wing. Yes, she's a samurai, but she never got the training to become the Iron Fist. And she never went through the struggles that Danny Rand went through, because it's those struggles that Danny Rand went through that make him a hero. And that's the big problem with Iron Fist, is that they devalue male achievement and male accomplishment in order to elevate women to a position of superiority that they did not earn. There was nothing that Colleen Wing did this season that showed us why she should wield the Iron Fist. Outside of being the man in the relationship, she has not really proven herself to be a hero, and Danny Rand, sadly, wasn't given a chance to prove himself to be a hero and a man, because he did not go out here and fulfill the mission that Matt Murdock gave him. Now, Matt Murdock gave Danny Rand a mission, and that should have been the character transformation arc for Iron Fist Season 2. It should have been all about Danny Rand learning about New York City, learning about the subtle politics that transpired around him, and learning how to take on all of these predators. Instead, the writers decided, instead of him exploring city that he lived in and the island of Manhattan and many of the outer boroughs. We saw your Danny Rand go into Chinatown, stay in Chinatown, and never really grow to become the hero he should have been. Instead of him becoming a hero, he regressed and became more of an emasculated beta male. And that's just not what a hero was. And that's one of the things that again irritated me about Iron Fist season 2 is that instead of us getting a story about a hero, we got a story steeped in feminism and steeped in gynocentrism and steeped in the idea and the myth of the superwoman. Because I look at the complete illogic of the last couple of episodes, and it's again trying to make women appear to be superior to men. I mean, I have some critical questions for the writers of this show. How is it that Joy Meacham manages to survive a punch from the Iron Fist from Davos and just falls off a landing and breaks her leg when other men are punched with the Iron Fist and their spines are completely shattered, their skulls are caved in, and all of their internal organs are ruptured? That's a logic hole that is in this series, and it's a logic hole that shows the complete bias that the producers had towards women in their quest to push strong women, but showed how weak they actually were because it showed that they had no interest in showing the flaws of women. It was all about putting women on pedestals, showing how great they were, but not really showing us how great a hero Danny Rand could be, because that's what Iron Fist was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about, season 2 was supposed to be about trying to correct many of the mistakes of Iron Fist season 1, which was the weak storytelling, the weak pacing, the weak character development in Danny Rand. But there was no effort made on those fronts. Instead of trying to develop the Danny Rand character, what we got was a whole story that was meant about elevating Colleen Wing, and it was all about making Colleen Wing into this Iron Fist. But they fail on that part because instead of giving her a organic character transformation arc, we get her turned into Mary Sue, and then we get this whole Iron Fist thing where he concedes and gives up and literally turns himself into a complete beta male coward. Because I look at your Danny Rand in this series, and he just wasn't a hero. And that was one of the most frustrating things about Iron Fist Season 2, in contrast to Luke Cage Season 2, is that Luke Cage was a hero. Luke Cage was a leader. Luke Cage took responsibility for his community. Luke Cage took responsibility for the challenges he faced taking on Bushmaster, and he made efforts to do things that were in the best interest of the community and not himself, and he made sacrifices in order to protect the people in the community. And that's how he became the power man who controls Harlem's Paradise in Harlem, because he understood that he had responsibilities and obligations to others and making sure that they were safe. Now, the producers of this show will say that the Luke Cage character is going down a dark path, but when I look at the Luke Cage character, like Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight, he's a character who's looking to do what is right, and while he has faced temptation, it's his inner character that shows that he is capable of being a leader. Whereas with Danny Rand, in contrast, I see a male who is not ready to do the work of a man, who is not capable of being a man, and has no understanding of what being a man is. And I see writers who went out of their way to show how weak a man could be when he is raised by women and supported by women, because I saw that with the Davos character. He was another weak, emasculated beta male who coveted male power because he envied the power that Danny Rand had. And once he got that power, he couldn't use it responsibly because he was too caught up in his emotions. And with Danny Rand, I saw a completely ridiculous scene which was meant to try to show us that a man has to learn certain things But because it came from Colleen Wing, it was completely illogical. Having Colleen Wing sitting there and telling Danny Rand about having control over his emotions and thinking before he acts, that was ridiculous because most women are primarily emotional, and they're the ones who usually, in most cases, don't have control over their emotions, and they're the ones who don't think rationally or critically in most situations. So listening to her make that argument in one of the later episodes of Iron Fist Season 2 just had me shaking my head because, again, women don't think like men. So having her acting and thinking like a man, just it reinforced the point to me that this character was just too masculine. And when I look at the Colleen Wing character, again, she's a masculine Mary Sue, and that's something that's really irritating for me to watch. And if they're going to bring this character in to Iron Fist Season 3, I have a feeling Iron Fist Season 3 is going to be worse than Arrow Season 3, because Arrow Season 3 was when everything just went to pot after Deathstroke murdered Oliver Queen's mother in Season 2. The whole show just fell completely apart. And with Danny Rand and Ward Meacham going on this quest to find themselves, like Buzz and Todd and Route 66, I have a feeling that this show is going to get worse before it gets better, and it may just get so worse that it may be on the way to getting canceled, because what I saw in Iron Fist Season 2 makes Arrow Seasons 3, 4, and 6 look like masterpieces, because when I look at how terrible the writing is on this show, how slanted the writing is on this show, and how it's all about making a show about girl power, it shows how these writers don't have any focus as related to their main character. They're believing the same false concept that many of Marvel's writers believe regarding Thor, that Thor is a title and that anyone can wield the title of Thor. That's what they did when they made Jane Foster Thor, but it's a slap in the face to all of the Norse mythology regarding that white European Nordic legend, because Thor is the son of Odin, and in Marvel Comics it is clearly stated that Danny Rand earned the Iron Fist, and he earned it through 20 years of martial arts training, 20 years of preparation, and it's that transformation that led to him becoming the man that he became. And again, that's an insult to men out here who go out here and work hard every day, that they're going to go work hard for something and then just walk away from it, all because they're afraid to go out here and face their fears. That's an insult to men. And what I saw in this show was a complete insult to men, because every male here was presented as weak. I mean, you had Davos going out here and sending Typhoid Mary to fight Iron Fist. And again, that not only emasculates Danny Rand, but it also emasculates Davos, because it shows that Davos is a coward because he cannot go out and fight his own battles. For a guy who says that he's supposed to be superior to Danny Rand and better than Danny Rand, if he was a man of character and a man of assault, he would have engaged Danny Rand in hand-to-hand combat and not sent Typhoid Mary to go take him on and then drug him. And the same thing with Danny Rand, seeing him take on Davos and then bring drugs into the scene in the later episodes, again, shows how beta these guys are, because truly masculine men, they go out here, they have their fight, and then they fight on the terms based on their own skills and abilities. And I think about it again, as a complete insult to any martial artist to go out here and do like these guys did, hiding behind women, because these men, again, they want to prove that their skills are the best, and the only way they can do that is in fair, balanced competition, like we saw in the 1970s Marvel team-up books, which this show isn't based on, because, again, these writers clearly don't understand what it means to be a man, they clearly don't have fathers in their lives, and they clearly don't understand the disciplines related to martial arts, because when I looked at the story, I didn't see anything related to the intangibles of manhood as related to the martial arts. I didn't see anything as related to the intangibles of discipline of someone who participates in the martial arts. All I saw were two soft, effeminate beta males playing like they were superheroes, but not showing us any traits of anything clearly heroic. When it comes down to Iron Fist Season 2, this is a series you definitely need to avoid, because it's clear to me that the SJW cancer that infected Spider-Man Homecoming and most of Marvel's comics over the last 2 years is starting to creep into these Netflix shows. And instead of them focusing on giving us action-packed shows like Luke Cage Season 2 was, we're getting feminist propaganda that's meant to kick comic fans in the nuts. And if this is the direction that the show is going in, I can honestly say I'm not coming back for Iron Fist Season 3, because when you see the hero being emasculated on his own show, that show has jumped the shark. And this show has jumped the shark so badly, it's worse than Arrow Season 3, 4, and 6 combined, and it surpasses even your Tyler Perry movies in terms of terrible quality. When I look at this Iron Fist Season 2, this is one of the worst Netflix shows I have ever seen, surpassing even Jessica Jones Season 2. And it's something you need to avoid, because if you're going to spend money on a show, it should be a superhero show that features the main character taking on their bad guys, and not made into a propaganda piece for feminists to push their agenda and show how girls are strong by weakening men. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to read some stories featuring balanced and strong heroines, you can pick up my ISIS series, my E-Steam series, and the Spinsterella trilogy on Amazon.com in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming this fall from SJS Direct, E-Steam The Sands of Time. It's action, adventure, and romance in ancient Egypt in this fantasy flashback E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order E-Steam The Sands of Time today on Amazon.com.